Look at that.
We should have got. There we go. I was gonna say we gotta get Tuukka in there.
Whoa.
Look out.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What was that? Apparently, Tuukka Rask has agreed to join us here for a special playoff edition of Love Me Tender. He's going to join us momentarily on a very busy day in Boston. Let's be real. I mean, he's probably a wanted man right now. Everyone's wanting his opinion on what the Bees can do, what Swayman can do, what Jim Montgomery should do with them in goal. But let's start with Swayman here and what he has done so far. You called him the best goalie in the playoffs earlier, and that's with a lot of other great goalies in the mix too. What stood out most to you about him?
Well, I just don't think Boston's where they are. I think Toronto had a really good series, and they just could not solve them. And Florida finally did last game. Boston kind of hung him out a little bit, but just his lower body control, his ability to move his lower body with power and control his upper body at the same time is just incredible. When he gets down and starts moving around, his upper body just doesn't move. Everything's in control. His hands are in control. He's lightning fast. And it's just unbelievable to watch. He literally looks like he's never going to get scored on.
He looks good.
Yeah. I wonder what Tuukka Rask thinks of Jeremy Swayman. Hey, there he is. Tuukka, how's it going?
Hi, guys. Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for joining us. I don't know if we're going to get much of an argument from you here, but Doobie thinks that Sway has been the best goalie in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's with everything that Shesterkin's done, everything Bob's done. Who do you think's been the best goalie?
I mean, I got to be Homer regardless here, but I think, Sway's been unbelievable. Just watching him in that Toronto series. I just heard you talking about him, how in control he is at all times. Nothing seems to rattle him, and, he's been containing his rebounds and making some really desperation saves as well. So he's definitely been the MVP so far.
Yeah, and coming from a guy who was just as one of the best at doing the same thing of being so in control and so smooth and calm. That's what you did when you played. So what does that do for the team in front of them? It just allows, I find it allows the guys to just go out, play their position. It's almost like the five forwards, trusting that the other player is going to do their position. And you were just like that. Swayman just seems that way, where it just brings the confidence of the guys in front of him to go out there and do their job.
Yeah, I think, when the guys get comfortable playing in front of a goalie like that, it just gives them that little boost of energy and confidence that, we can give up a shot here and there and knowing that he's going to stop it. And, even if something gets by him, it's just that body language that he shows and the confidence level that he has that kind of just, I got your back here. That's what, I get off of him, that he's super confident and nothing rattles him. And I think the guys have fed off of him, really, because, they've given him some chances, but Sway's bailed him out, and he's been their backbone for the, last 7 or 8 games he's played.
Yeah, and it's not too often that we see a team in the Stanley Cup playoffs make this kind of run to start the playoffs with the reigning Vezina winner on the bench, right? I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches that Boston has enjoyed now for several years, having such a great tandem of goalies, but it's tough, and it has become a storyline now with every game. Like, do you go Swayman again? When do you get Ullmark minutes? Like, what do you make of the whole situation there and kind of going back and forth?
It's laughable living in Boston and listening to what people are talking about. There's always, media's going to spin these things whichever way they want. But I know for a fact there's no controversy in the room. They're great buddies. They're a great team. They're a tight-knit group. Playoffs are a different animal. You can rotate all you want in the regular season, but when it comes to playoffs, it was great to see that they both got a game. Both played great the first 2 games of the playoffs. Linus ended up getting the loss, but he didn't play bad. Then if your goalie gets hot like Sway did, how do you steer away from it? You can't. So let him ride it out. And if you need Linus to step up, he's going to step up. So it's a great situation to be in as a team, because you have 1A, 1B in the lineup. But as of now, just let the kid ride it out and see what happens. Hopefully he takes you to the glory land and, they win the cup. If not, then Linus is going to step up and do the job. So, but it's laughable to watch, and how people make these stories that it's a controversy, but it's not.
Stupid media.
Hey, Tuukka, I know this is supposed to be goalie-centric, but I want to ask you, from a guy with a relationship in being there in Boston, How about Pasta last game? Like, what did you know? Is this what he is? Are we just being introduced to that? He'll do anything it takes?
You know, he's been brought up here, you know, I don't know how many years it's been, almost 10 years now. And, you know, like we're always known as the big bad Bruins, and he grew up in that environment. So it's great to see him stepping up and not taking any trash, right? Like he didn't have to fight. Tkachuk didn't have to fight. But we all saw how that game developed and what was going on out there. So good for him of dropping the gloves and kind of showing his teammates that, hey, I'm here if needed, and I'll do whatever it takes to win. So it was a very, very entertaining game to watch, although it was 6-1. As a fan, you know, you always want to see all kinds of circus out there. But I think tonight at the Garden, it's going to be rocking, and it's going to be a super interesting match again.
Yeah, I think everybody loved that. I mean, nobody's going to question if Pasta does not go out and fight. But when he goes out and does it, regardless of outcome, doesn't matter. He's showing that he's in it. So switching gears here to the other series, Edmonton and Vancouver. What do you think about Sheelas? I thought watching, there was a lot of talk about him. I thought he did an amazing job in Nashville, coming in a tough spot. I thought he looked nervous last game. Just the way he was moving around. Obviously, the fourth goal wasn't great, but he shut the door after that, and that's saying a lot. So what do you think about that goaltending situation in Vancouver right now?
Well, if you think I'm staying up till like midnight to watch those games on the West Coast, but I mean, I see a lot of highlights, and I saw. So he's like the third goalie in their rotation, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that takes a lot of depth in the organization to have a guy like that to step in. I think when your first two go down, you know, he's done a tremendous job. Like, it's not easy to step in there, and I don't know if he's played NHL games before this, but no, a lot of times it's good to throw you out there in the fire right away and kind of like, you know, hey, we'll see what you got. And he's done a tremendous job. He's a great goalie. It seems like he's very athletic, good hands, and he moves a lot. But hey, good for him. Hope he keeps it going.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation to come into. And then on the other side, a guy that's that usually has shown us that he's going to bounce back. But the Oilers are going to need a big one. This is the Oilers were very highly
favored.
They're highly favored.
Yeah,
Thank you. Highly favored in the series, and they look like they should be. And Skinner kind of struggled down the stretch there. So what do you think about his play so far, and do you expect him to have a bounce back like we all do?
I'm sure he's going to bounce back. You know, you play for the Edmonton Oilers, you know you're going to get scoring opportunities. You're going to score 4 or 5 goals a game if needed. So, you know, just hold your ground, stop a puck when needed, and, you know, but it's the playoffs. Anything can happen, and, you know, Canadian teams haven't been very successful lately in the late rounds of the playoffs, so I'm sure they all feel the pressure and feeling to get the job done. But, you know, I'm sure you're a starting goalie in this league. At this point, you're going to bounce back no matter what. So I wouldn't be too much worried about Skinner either.
Hey, Tuukka, from your vantage point and when you played, we had on, we had Connor Hellebuyck on talking about some of his eye stuff he does on the bench before a game. We had Alex Lyon on doing his eye test. Both those guys were kind of saying, you know, the eyes are a muscle. You got to get those things working before a game. We've seen Braden Holtby, right, spraying the water up in the air. Were you a guy that believed in that? Did you have any little tendencies that you had as far as getting sharp and getting ready?
Yeah, for sure. I started doing that maybe the last 5 seasons I played. I was doing that, trying to, you know, warm up the muscles and quiet the eyes because, yeah, they were right. Eye is a muscle, and you have to warm those up. So I was juggling tennis balls at the wall and, like, kind of like just staring at some kind of lights and stuff and trying to kind of like make myself cry a little bit. I felt like that helped me. But yeah, I definitely did that.
You know, Tuukka, I know all eyes will be on the Boston Bruins tonight and their playoff series, but then tomorrow night we're going to have another game for the PWHL Boston team as they try to upset Montreal again. I don't know if you caught wind of this, but last night they actually had a huge overtime win against Montreal in the first game of that best-of-5 series. Erin Frankel is the goalie for Boston, and she had a couple of phenomenal saves. One of them came in overtime. Have you at all met her or crossed paths with her? What do you make of these saves?
So we do a little Friday morning skate at the rink they practice at. I have not met her or talked to her, but I saw the saves she made yesterday, and they were unbelievable. I mean, it's so great to see that, you know, the media coverage and how people are getting involved in the women's hockey too, and it must be awesome for them to play in front of, you know, tens of thousands of fans. But I saw those saves; they were like game-saving, you know, saves. Keep them in it, and obviously I'm rooting for Boston. Boston Montreal, as everybody knows, is a big rivalry, so hope they can pull it off tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. It was huge. And you're right. Moments after she made one of those saves, they end up going and scoring the overtime winner on the other end. Again, upsetting Montreal, who was the home team. And so Boston with a 1-0 series lead in that best of 5. And oh, by the way, Frankel made 53 saves.
Wow.
It's a new PWHL record.
That was unbelievable.
I've seen Tuukka make 53 saves to win a bronze medal, too, against Sweden.
Hey.
And give up 0.
There you go.
Just saying. That was before I knew him.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for the time. We know you're a busy guy, and we do want to show you our little fun animation that we have for this segment called Love Me Tender. There's Doobie, baby Doobie, and you chucking the stick at him.
I love it. There you go. Every time I'm on, you guys bring that same clip up, I feel like.
Hey, we need new material. Give us some new material.
Hey, listen, I'd rather that clip than me as Elvis, all right? So it's okay. It's okay.
That's awesome.
Thanks so much.
Guys.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Tuukka.
All right.